If you live a really good life and you're kind and gentle and elegant and charming and humble and sweet, eventually you could become Barbara Poole.
Barbara is quite simply one of the most committed, energetic, positive energy people I know.
Growing up in England, I'm a little bit of a monarchist, and Barbara often reminds me of the Queen. She's so gracious and she can talk to anybody.
As I grew up, I was always taught to refer to my parents' contemporaries as Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so. And so, of course, this was Mr. and Mrs. Poole. And when I was in my early adult years, I met Barbara and referred to her as Mrs. Poole. And she looked at me with complete horror and she said, "Mrs. Poole is John's mother. It's Barbara, baby."
To me, Barbara was real. There was nothing pretentious about Barbara, but that smile, her face, that beautiful face with that smile, and her eyes are very warm and accepting.
She's so authentic. I really, really appreciate that in her. It's so hard to find nowadays, somebody who's just completely comfortable with who and what they are, doesn't need or want to be anything more, and is just what you see is absolutely what you get, and what you get is fantastic. It couldn't be better. No wonder she doesn't try to improve upon it. I don't think you could.
Well, Barbara has supported the university for many, many years. I mean, they are among our most generous donors. And of course, the Devonian Garden, which is close to her heart, she's been very instrumental in ensuring that that project moves ahead, but also making sure that that project is, inspires others. I think young people need to look at her as a person, as a role model, as someone with the spirit of philanthropy that infuses everything she does, and draw inspiration from it. She's very inspiring.
The remarkable thing about Barbara and John is that they never just gave money. I mean, they gave a lot of money to things, but they never just did that. If they were involved in something, they jumped in with both feet.
I think it's fair to say there wouldn't be a community foundation, at least certainly not one, of the vibrancy and strength that we see today here without Barbara.
Yes, she supports wonderful initiatives, you know, here at home, like Youth Right in Edmonton, but also both she and John worked around the world to support humanity. And I think Barbara sees the human family as just that, as a family, interconnected.
Until she gets involved in something and wants you to get involved in it, you can't say no to Barbara, as we couldn't say no to John. When they want something to happen, they dragoon people into it, and in the loveliest way.
Barbara comes out of the hotel room one morning and she says, "Okay, I've got a great idea. We're all going to collect all our little toiletries. Stop using them. You shouldn't be using them. Collect them all. We're going to take them to the next camp that we go to. We're going to ask the hotel for extra toiletries." It never occurred to me in all my years of working internationally to do something like that. But where she sees an opportunity, and she finds opportunities in the most incredible places, she just jumps on it, just like that, you know, without even really thinking about it, and no pomp and circumstance. Let's just do this. Let's just grab all the shampoos and all the shower caps and everything else and get these to people who really need them, and just use your own shampoo and stop using that hotel shampoo.
She doesn't live her life with a checkbook. She lives her life with the people. And she's passionate about every cause. She's passionate, but she's compassionate.
I met Barbara when we asked her to be the Honourary Chair of the Lois Hole Hospital campaign. So we thought if we could have her as our Honorary Co-Chair, it would add a lot of credibility to our campaign. Barbara is a classy and elegant woman with a great sense of humor, and she has that signature wink. She'd say something and then she kind of say something like, you know, I don't know if I should be saying this, but I'll tell you, you know, and she had that way of just making you feel like you were conspiring with her, you know, you were in her inner circle.
There was a daredevil side to Barbara Poole. She loved to drive cars quite quickly at times, and she had a Porsche and thought she'd better really find out how to drive this Hummer. So she went down to the Porsche Club in Calgary, and these guys cut off the corners and drive around extremely fast. And they were amazed. They look in the mirror, and there's Barbara Poole right on the tail. She'd be cutting the corners and was going around in some, I think maybe set a track record there once, but she wasn't scared to floor that car.
What defines someone like Barbara and how important she is to our community is not the generosity of dollars. It is the generosity of spirit and her humanity and her desire to make the community better.
Ladies and gentlemen, Barbara Poole. Barbara and John Poole were very, very influential in giving us the actual first lead gift that started off the whole project. So without them, I don't think our new building would have been possible. Barbara's interest in design, interest in architecture, really made us kind of push forward and get the kind of iconic building that we have today. And Barbara Poole supports not just the Art Gallery, but all of the arts. She really understands how creativity and culture and arts organizations are a fundamental part of our community.
She's a great ambassador for even the smallest theatre in the city. I bet you Barbara Poole's probably helped them at some time.
I'm interested in the avant-garde arts, and that's not traditionally where philanthropy goes. But this says a lot about Barbara's spirit, and of course, John and Barbara's spirit, in that they sought out all parts of the community that they may wish to support.
Last time she was on our stage was just, what is that now, 3 years ago or something like that? Being, in her youth a dancer, she, I guess, still never loves the stage and the feeling when you are on that stage. So she came, and one of the dancers carried her right in front of our chorus. I think it remained one of the finest memories in their life.
Barbara and John and the whole family were all expert skiers. They'd hang out at Lake Louise. They quite often have a condo down there for the season. And Barbara was a magnificent skier. I don't think she's quite as quick anymore, but she's still very good.
Barbara is a wonderful athlete. 2 miles a day swimming. Who does that?
I know.
Well, we know that.
She's always the most elegant woman in the room. She just has an innate sense of style.
Barbara's always got style. She, makes the statement when she comes into the room, and that's really one of the wonderful, endearing things about Barbara.
Her love of music, she loves music. It's evident every time she is listening to it that she's loving it.
She loved the likes of Tommy Banks and P.J. Perry. I spent hours listening to P.J. and Mr. Banks on the piano there, and that was her first love.
One thing that I think is vitally important is the standard with which they set. I think many Edmontonians now have to reach that standard and aspire to be the kind of people that John and Barbara Poole are. The standard with which they set and how people need to give and be committed to community, I think that set a standard in our community that is really quite remarkable.
I think that if young women are paying attention, what they're going to learn from her is to let your light shine, but let it shine in a way that doesn't overpower anybody else. If anything else, let your light shine in a way that lifts other people up so that their light can shine brighter.
Barbara, all your friends love you. Everybody in the city respects and admires you. Many of us hold you in absolute awe.
I have always admired you. You are my role model.
You truly represent all that's good about Edmonton, all that's good about people. We love you.
Barbara, I hope you realize when you enter this room and see this beautiful video how much we love you and how important you are to us, and that we know that for years to come, your name will always be front and center, just the way it has been from the years past.
Barbara, you and John have been a true inspiration to me and to my family, and we all thank you for that.
Barbara, I just want to thank you for teaching me how to be a better person, and for everything you've done to make this city and this world a better place.